This leg is from Dunton Bassett to Sutton Wharf. Heading west across the fields from Dunton Bassett, it picks up the road south at Valley View Farm down to Leire. Then it's across the fields and up the road into and through Frolesworth. Next, diverting south across more farmlands, the path tracks past the sewage works and momentarily dips into Claybrooke Magna before heading into the fields once more before reaching Claybrooke Parva. From the southmost point of the round, we head northwestward over the fields to Highcross, where the route strides north up the old Roman Fosse Way, and then curves through Fosse Meadows and into Sharnford. After this, we head northwest over the fields to first Aston Flamville, then over the M69 motorway before taking a twisting route up to and through the edge of Hinckley. Heading out northwards towards Burbage Wood and across the common, our path takes a couple of sharp turns before arriving in Barwell. Passing out of this local industrial estate, the route finally heads northwest over more fields and then along the Ashby-de-la-Zouch Canal to arrive at Sutton Wharf. Well, we are back on the round and we are in Dunton Bassett, where we finished last time, and setting off on what is a delightfully sunny day for once. Just finding the route out of the village. As is of course traditional, it was raining heavily yesterday, but you know, we're just used to that by now. That's fairly standard for this walk. And there it is, a gateway with a river running through it. But the symbol of the round, jolly good. That's always good to see. I'm on the right course already. Off we go. One thing's been noticeable over the month and a half I've been doing the round on and off is how fields have gone from being close to being ready for cropping to the point at which now they are definitely ready for harvesting, through to I'm now beginning to see more and more fields that have been harvested. I expect today it's going to be probably trend more towards the ones waiting to be harvested given the wet weather, but I suspect on the next phase of the round, that's the point at which I'm going to start walking through fields that have been fully harvested more and more. So it's going to be nice watching the changing landscape over Leicestershire on these those videos. It does make me wonder if by the time I get to the end of the round, everything will have been harvested and we'll be well and truly into autumn. I don't know. It really depends what the weather does and whether I can get out on consecutive weekends to finish off the last 45 miles or so of the round that are still ahead of me. Still, today is a lovely day. There's a bit of a light breeze in the air, better than last time. There is sunshine, but it's not too intense. It might get warm later on, I guess. I'm certainly wearing sunscreen today from the very start. And hills appear to be, well, so far, almost unnoticeable. And compared to all the previous segments, which started with hills generally, probably the very first one, which started with a very mild hill, I'm quite grateful for that. I mean, this side of Leicestershire is a bit flatter than certainly the high Leicestershire point of the second and third phases, which does potentially let me go a little further today. If I'm not going to be quite so tired walking down hills, but maybe I'll get more tired walking through all the mud, because it's certainly quite tacky underfoot. Well, we've had a nice little bit of road walking, and we are just coming into Leire. It was interesting, there was a sign there that said I could have gone across the fields as part of the round, but my map very clearly demarcates it as being the roadway. So I thought, you know what, let's stay on the roadway. It made no real difference in the distance. After Leire, it's back across the fields, and I'm thinking after that we do go south for a while, and I'm hoping today we will finally reach the most southerly point of the round. It's been a while coming,
Thought we'd reached it about 20 miles ago, but today I think we do finally reach it. I think we also get the opportunity to cross the M69 later on, so having done the M1 last time, this time it's going to be the M69. So obviously not actually crossing the motorway itself, but rather under or over it. Oh, this seems a very charming little village. Well, Leire was charming enough, even if navigating my way out to the village was a little trickier. A road that looks straight ahead on the Ordnance Survey map turns out to be one that goes a bit of road, back path, a bit more road, and back path again. But we have found the exit from the village. Easy enough, and now just heading back westward, where I imagine we'll shortly come out in some more fields of corn or barley, or if we're really lucky, some harvested fields. As the next actual point of destination is over my map in about half a mile, I haven't looked ahead yet to see where I'm going. But I'm sure we'll find it. It seems to be quite well signposted, this section, which makes a change from some of the earlier bits of the round where there was an absence of signposts. Or maybe an absence of my ability to find the signposts. Who can tell? But it's quite a nice day, and because it's sunny, enjoying these segments with a nice bit of shade. The first style of the day. Well, I'm going to stop recording because, frankly, you don't want to see me trying to clamber over this. Well, I had the unexpected experience there of farmers spraying their fields. No crop in it, so I can only presume they're sort of seeding stuff ready for next year. Anyway, came out that field fairly sharpishly to avoid being sprayed with whatever they were spraying. And now we've got about a mile of road walking down to Frolesworth. No, village I've never heard of before. Where we kind of go straight through and then take a south route across the fields once more. Kind of hoping this isn't going to be too busy a road, but there's already been quite a few cars and small trucks coming past me. I am, of course, wearing reflective gear in the hope I might actually let them see me and maybe momentarily slow down. But I have to say, when you're out on the open roads of Leicestershire like this, some drivers give you more room than others do. So you do have to keep your wits about you on these sections. They're good for making up time and distance. They are also a lot more dangerous than walking through the fields. For all those you do slow down, thank you very much. It's good to see my pre-cognitive abilities continue to be quite sound. Shortly after recording the last clip, just as I was coming into Frolesworth, I had someone driving a great big Chelsea tractor nearly sideswipe me because they couldn't be bothered to take their foot off the gas for 5 seconds. Thank you so much, you moron of a driver. Well, now we're beyond Frolesbrook and we're heading across quite a long field stretch down to Claybrooke Magna. Yep, we are definitely now on the southern stretch, but this is the very last southern stretch. It's about 3 or 4 miles long, admittedly, but we will eventually come out at the southernmost point of the round. And from that point onwards, north and east are really our only real directions we'll be doing, which will be exciting. Although, like I say, still quite a long way to go around the round before we get to that bit, but we shall arrive at it soon. So, having just, if you'll pardon the phrase, passed through the local sewage works, I am now heading into the edge of Claybrooke Magna, but not for very long, because more or less we walk into it and walk out of it straight away. So not really much of a chance to explore the village. From a distance though, it looks quite nice. Mostly looking at older housing stock. Also a nice giant field for me to walk across to get to it. There was, as had been traditional in the last few bits of the round, a sign saying Bull in Field. Not seeing any cows, not seeing any bulls, unless they are those famous stealth bulls that Leicestershire's been breeding. Still, the countryside continues to be very pretty. The hills, relatively sparse. There's been 1 or 2 of them. But all in all, this is quite an enjoyable section of the round so far today. Possibly the weather helps with that. I see traces of ridge and furrow in this field, which you can probably detect on going up and down across them. As I suspected, of Claybrooke Magna there was very little to say other than ouch, as in the gate coming into the village there was a bramble that had grown across that caught me straight across my snout rather unexpectedly. So I may have said gosh that's spiky a couple of times, because ow, it hurt. It's the first time I slashed on my nose for quite some time. But it's that time of year when brambles grow out. I don't really think carrying a machete around this route would go down well with the local constabulary, so although there are times when trying to get through these bits you really do feel you need a bit more than a stick to hack your way through. Not like the jungles of South America, but it certainly can be quite challenging to the hiker at times. Anyway, on we're going now to Claybrooke Parva, or even Parva. I'm reading the map sideways, so how would I know? And it's a moment of celebration as we come into the outskirts of Claybrooke Parva, because this is the most southerly point of the round. Yes, pleased to have reached it finally. And Monk's Kirby, I once walked all the way there from home. My wife wondered where I was because I'd actually crossed into Warwickshire, which is not that far away now. Anyway, we're just skirting through the edge of the village and then we'll be heading out. I can already see the round direction sign there by the school. And we'll be across the fields for a while, heading up to Highcross, a tiny hamlet, not the shopping centre in Leicester. And from there we'll be picking up the Fosse Way Roman Road. So that'll be nice. It's a bit I always wanted to walk and never quite got around to. So an opportunity to do that now. Quite a fun little track here. Between the field, nicely marked out. Oh, yeah, someone's lost their shirt. But I can actually see it continues this way for a few fields. Oh, I see a road in the distance as well. I wonder what road that is. The road from Claybrooke Magna to Highcross. Highcross? Yes, Highcross. So, not an exciting road, not the M69 yet. That's still a way off. I do believe we will be still getting that today. But this is nice. No, this is nice. I don't have to think too much about the route, which means I can make good time. It's a bit higgledy-piggledy underfoot, but it's grass. So obviously I'm having to make sure I don't trip myself up over a sod or a particular nasty clump of grass. But yeah, decent bit of walking still. And I haven't had my nose slashed again. Although there are a lot of brambles around here and quite a few nettles. Had a few stings already on my legs, but not totally overgrown. But I can see in about a month's time this might be a little more challenging, this bit. You might think I'm kidding sometimes when I say some passage routes are harder than others. This is quite overgrown. This is going to be a heads down, hope for the best, and hope there's not a sharp bramble in the way. And it turns out that side path I was taking there actually wasn't the right way out the field anyway. So I went through it and went, no, this is wrong, and I had to come back through it. So scratched myself up, oh, for no reason at all. Now I am definitely back on the right route, and hello, sheeps. First sheeps I've seen today. Still about 10-15 minutes outside Highcross, although I can hear the A5 in the distance and the other road here, so I know I'm not that far away as those two meet there. Let's hope it's not a busy bit I've got to cross. Oh, sheep are off. Now that is more like it. Clearly the round is better maintained than the other footpaths around here. A momentary respite as we come into the edge of Highcross, but then almost immediately we are back out across the fields. Once I've worked out where to access those fields, and also held my breath passing the guy doing the weed spraying up ahead. Always a good idea to do that in windy conditions. No, that was easier than I thought it was, although, oh dear, Leicestershire Round and Fosse Way, very battered sign there. So yep, this is the bottom of the Fosse Way here. I mean, it continues on to the road south of here, but this is the course of the Roman road itself. Now no longer actually a road, lovely trackway for 2 or 3 miles. Well, a couple of miles at least anyway. We come out further along here near Sharnford, a village I've not driven through for a few years, but have driven past quite many times. So it'll be kind of nice to see. Oh look, I can see in the distance, I think that's a high rise I can see on the edge of Leicester. You don't actually see a lot of Leicester on this route of Leicestershire Round. You don't come that close to it, but for the first time in a long time I can actually see Leicester City itself. Well, there you go. We don't actually go anywhere near Leicester City, so that's all right, but it's just kind of nice to actually see the capital county town. Oh, and this is downhill. That's a nice change. Coming up to High Cross was all uphill. So, not a great uphill, but uphill enough. But this is a nice, straight route for quite a while now. Have to say, it's very nice down here. Lovely woodland track. I think of all the bits I've done today, this is easily the nicest. Very easy going, very direct route, shaded from the sun and the wind. Nice scenery of the crops going by. And yeah, there's plenty of foliage and nettles, but they are at least mostly out of the way. I get the impression looking, I can see tyre tracks and stuff down here. This is clearly quite a well-trodden route. The bit I was coming up to High Cross on was very not well-trodden and quite overgrown, but yeah, that such is the variety of the round. Well, here we are going through Fosse Meadows, which is on the edge of Sharnford. We're curving up to it. It shows nature reserve markings on it, so might be some interesting bird life to see in here. Might not, I suppose. It'll be hiding away from me as I approach. Oh, there's a dog. I don't think that counts as bird life. But it does probably tell me I'm getting close to the village because there are people out walking their dog. So kind of an encouraging sign in that respect. Yes, this is all very well organised around Sharnford. I can see why there's lots of families out on it. Probably the easiest bit of walking I've done other than on the roadway. At least it's well signposted too. Oh, it's nice looking woods off there to explore, but not for me because I'm down this path. Well, after a nice walk to the nature reserve, a bit of a shock, back out on the big main road. But this is Sharnford. It's probably the biggest place I've walked through in possibly the entire round, actually, by the looks of it. According to the old Mapperoonie, walk down the main road through Sharnford till it comes to a left sharp turn, the edge of the village, and that's when I pick up the field paths once more, heading westward, well, northwestward maybe. And while passing through these villages, towns, it's probably the least decorous part of the route. It does make for some of the easiest walking still. Although, still feel to have failed to have totally passed any kind of little shop anywhere. I might fancy popping in for a bottle of pop or something today, but no matter. As always, the round route keeps you away from anywhere you can spend any money. Anyway, onward we go. So after a few fields and a bit of farm track, here we are in Ashby-Flamville, and in the distance I can hear the M69. Which, as far as I can tell from reading this map, we're about to go walk over shortly. That's good. That's the second major motorway of the round that will have passed. Hello ladies, I cunningly bypassed you. I did, I'm afraid. At least I'm assuming you're ladies and there's not a cow. Oh, well, I could be wrong there. It wouldn't be the first time. Oh, you are being watched. Possibly by the cows. Oh, I could just caught a glimpse of the M69 there for a moment. Here we go. over the 69. Apologies for the wind noise. And I can see beyond there the public footpath for the Round. Not that one, the one on the far side. Ah, there we go. Public footpath to Burbage, that's the one I want. It's a very curious looking style. But, over we go. These are very steep steps. About half a foot drop of each one. Well, there we are. Just at the edge of the range, and it's way off the path, but there are a couple of llamas there. Hello from a fellow hiking llama, my friends. You have got the best idea, gushing down like that. Regular viewers may remember I was moaning before about long grassy fields. There's a lot of long grassy fields on the Round at the moment. Kind of hoping a few more of these get harvested for hay. Because they are hard work to pass through. Now I can see through there the next route marker, but it's very clearly not there, because that's a fence with barbed wire and electric fencing around it. Very much marked as do not enter by the landowner. So hopefully it's just round the corner of the route to get to that next footpath. Although it won't be the first time a landowner has put an impossible barrier in front of me on a legitimate route. Yeah, there was some monstrous misdirection there on the signs. Ended up having to go through a horribly overgrown and thorny bit. I think that's going to be a note to the council. I'm not sure whose responsibility is to clear it, but it was nearly impassable. I'm glad to be off that bit of land. Yeah, landowner's not keen, clearly, of people walking across there. Done everything it felt like they could do to dissuade people walking across there. But anyway, we're just coming into the edge of Hinckley, where we shall pass through very shortly and then out of again. Yes, a very short stretch of Hinckley. So I can already see there the path out of Hinckley and away up to the next port of call. Although getting across this road might be slightly more challenging. So just been coming past Burbage Wood, and we're just approaching a bit where I think we're going to pass underneath a main Leicester to Coventry, or Leicester to Birmingham, I suppose I should say, railway line. Oh, there it is. Always like a bit of a tunnel. A couple of trains passing while I was there. We're not going to be so lucky to see one now, but you never know. Currently walking across Burbage Common, which is quite nice. A lot of people here, actually. It's a very popular location between Hinckley and Burbage. Hopefully threading my way between the woods and the common itself, which leads to Leicester Road, and across that road, and then to the outskirts of Burbage. A place I have never ever been or knowingly driven through. Oh look, a great big car park over there. Ooh, and a signpost. I wonder if that's what I'm supposed to be heading for. Let us find out. Ah, the joys of nipping across the edge of a golf course. Hopefully, look, it's a teeing off location, that's alright. So it shouldn't be anything heading down the fairway towards me. Nice looking course. Well, despite walking quite a while across that common, we're now still heading back into the top end of Hinckley again. After that though, we will take a right turn and head through the fringes of Barwell, which isn't very far from the edge of Hinckley. I had a suspicion that once I got near Hinckley and more conurbation that the route finding would get a lot more shaky, and it has. It really signs are buried, routes aren't obvious. It's much easier going over open fields because you can generally see, you know, half a mile ahead, 2 fields ahead. Here it's so built up, very hard to pick up a route. And I was lucky I could hear this big road, the A5 up here, to sort of navigate by to make sure I was going in the right direction, because I basically walked past the turn off here. It's marked like a proper track, but it's actually just buried in the trees. Anyway, at least I found it again, so I know where I am, and I am certainly still on the round. Well, Barwell wins the award for the most industrial place I've been now. I thought it was that factory on the approach to Foxton. But no, we're literally walking through an industrial estate right now. But that has the advantage of the first shop I've seen in a very, very long time. So, Barwell might have had an industrial estate, but it had the most wonderful burger wagon, where I've bought a couple of cans of fizzy pop to boost me on, one of which I've just drunk already. Now, the rest of today's route, I'm not actually going to arrive at anywhere. I'm actually going to arrive in between a couple of villages, but close to a canal, which is interesting because I've just been trying to direct Mrs. Llama to there so she can come and pick me up. But yeah, it continues to be quite windy, as you can hear, but thankfully not too sunny, and also not too humid. About an hour or two ago, going through a really humid patch, less so here. Yeah, path somewhere. I mean, it's directly alongside this side of this field, but it's not there because that's not been kept well. It's certainly not through the crop. So yeah, brilliantly poorly maintained piece. I'm just having to thrash through the crop as the only way forward. Don't like doing that, but you cannot walk through thick thistle. And I've got to say, there's dips and ditches here that make it really unpleasant and potentially going to twist an ankle. So no. All the fun of the field being cut for hay. Luckily, I've arrived at exactly the point where I can still just about make the route out. I'm quite pleased with. A few minutes later, it would have been much harder to fight my way across this field. I am hopeful that Mrs. Llama won't totally crucify me when she picks me up, as I said, oh yes, sure, I'll be there at 2 o'clock, not realising it was only 1:30 when I was speaking to her, and I was still about 4 miles away. So there's probably one very cross Mrs. Llama sitting there going, where has he gone to? That's why I was a little blasé when she was saying, oh, I'll set off straight away to pick you up. And I mean, no, you've got an hour to do it. So probably you're out walking for this long, you do lose track of the time. But still, coming up soon to the end of today's walk, another mile and a half maybe tops. So 20 minutes maybe. Well, I've just checked the mileometer and there is, well, I'm over 17.5 miles today. And I'm still a mile from the finish, so this is easily going to be the longest chunk of the round I've done. And as always, my reminder, if you've got this far in the video, thank you for watching this far. Please give me a like, a share or a subscribe. Boosts me up the algorithms on YouTube, gets more people to watch it. And encourages me to make more content. Oh, and to finish with 3/4 of a mile down a canal. Would there be any more glorious way to end this? Some ducks, there's a moorhen, some more ducks. Yeah, well, it's certainly been an epic walk today. But, and here's the reason why I've kind of soldiered on to do a lot more today than I kind of originally planned. I'd worked out what the next 2 phases were, which hopefully will be the last 2 phases of the round with any luck. And, you know, The next one was about 14 miles, 15, not too bad. But then the next one was 17 miles with a lot of hills. So what I've done today is hopefully cut into that final bit. So next time I can do, aim for my normal 14, 15 miles. But more importantly, cut down that final route to, maybe 11, 12 miles at most. I could be wrong, because next week I could be totally exhausted by 12 miles and have to stop. We shall see. Anyway, coming to the end very soon. Well, that's it. We're here down by the Sutton Wharf. And that's where I've ended today, and it's where I will start again. Over 19 miles today, so that's more than enough. But I hope you will come and join me on next time's Walking with Llama's Paws.